turns on the show once again from Rotoworld. Lawrence, what's going on?
Not much, man. I cannot complain. I'm happy to be back. Now let's talk some of this football here.
Let's start with Zach Wilson's at one time thought of number one wide receiver, Elijah Moore. It has not gone that way for Elijah Moore this season. 25 targets on the year. Obviously, 3 of his 4 games were with Joe Flacco. 15 catches, 192 yards. Most important part, has not scored a touchdown. So, Lawrence, when you look at all of that, can you keep Elijah Moore in your starting lineup with confidence anymore?
Yeah, definitely not with confidence, but I would say there's still a slither of hope, and that's just based on the talent alone. The thing you don't love is the fact that you got Garrett Wilson there. Well, we knew when Garrett Wilson got drafted, there was going to be a slight bump. The surprise is Corey Davis has 3 games of at least 70 yards. Now, Corey Davis is the oldest wide receiver of the crew, and we know Zach Wilson likes everything a little older.
That's
so,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just got to be weary of that. But just based on talent alone, Elijah Moore.
Sorry, that just registered with me. Sorry, I didn't sell
I think Jay's late on this one, but it's going to ring. It's going to ring soon.
There it is. There, I slipped those
I
in
was
there
all
like
over
that. Yeah, you know, he has had success with Zach Wilson, with Mike White, with Josh Johnson. So that's the slither of hope right there. So I'm not, I'm definitely not going to start him with confidence, but there's still some hope there because you got to love the talent. We saw what he could do, you know what I'm saying? But we'll just have to hope just a little bit more. But Corey Davis has emerged a little bit. He's their leading receiver right now. So, I mean, I don't know, man. How do you feel about it, Jay?
Yeah, I think Elijah Moore, he's a flex guy. You grit and bear it until you see more. It's only been 4 games. It's not like he's fallen off a cliff. Like, it's not like a Cole Kmet type operation. Like, he's still getting some yards and targets.
But operation.
It's Cole Kmet operation.
Right there.
Yeah, that's got some legs. That'll play more. I do think that the problem with the Jets, who aren't this, it's not a Kansas City type of offense or anything, but offensively, they've been probably about as expected, maybe shown some even positive signs relative to expectations. They've got a lot of guys who need the ball now.
issue.
There's Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, who's an offensive Rookie of the Year candidate, Michael Carter, who's still going to play, and then Elijah Moore. I mean, you're the Jets man, Connor. What do you think of Elijah Moore?
I think the good thing was last week, and this is Zach Wilson's first game back, so you never want to react too far on the ends of the spectrum. The good thing is, first half, he was throwing to Elijah Moore for a couple big completions. Second half, it didn't exist. That's where you look at it and go, okay, our team's starting to adjust, where when Moore starts out the game hot, they're going to shade more coverage to him, and then Corey Davis is open. That's what it felt like for the Steelers, who are not a good defense without T.J. Watt. So I think the most consistent theme here with Elijah Moore goes back to what Lawrence opened with. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. Tyler Conklin is commanding a lot of targets. So when you look at that,
we didn't even speak about him.
And he's in, top 10 tight end territory, which is insane right now. So
we could also hope that it's a volume passing offense. Zach Wilson, first game back, 36 pass attempts. The week before, Joe Flacco just throwing it all around 52 times, So, I mean, they are the Jets. So if you could get that type of thing where then you're just passing out 10 targets to everybody, then, Elijah Moore got to eat at some point. The talent just too good not to.
Just lastly on this too, Miami's pass defense, which I think the perception is they have a really good defense. Not this year so much. Yeah. 31st ranked pass defense by DVOA. Now, a lot of that is they played Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow the past 3 weeks, which doesn't help your defense. But at the same time, like Xavier Howard has not been the same guy at all. He left earlier Thursday night. So I would be a little bit concerned about the Miami pass defense in terms of from a Dolphins fan. But for the Jets, there might be some yards in this game.
Yeah, Miami, who lives in man coverage, we'll see if that can help out Elijah Moore. All right, staying within the division with the Buffalo Bills, Gabe Davis. Plenty of understandable summer hype for Gabe Davis, and unfortunately, it's been more of an injury struggle throughout the season. Lingering ankle injuries, got 14 targets, 8 catches. Only 8 catches on the season for Gabe Davis, 138 yards and a touchdown. Jay, I'll start with you. Does it seem like this injury is lingering into Gabe Davis's production at this point?
I think so, and I'm not concerned because, who else had a quiet 2 weeks? Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
And he's gone under his receiving total the past 2 weeks. Gabe Davis, he showed what he can do in week 1, obviously building off that momentum from that ridiculous playoff game against the Chiefs. 2 quiet weeks in a row, but the Dolphins game was weird where Diggs didn't get the volume either, and Gabe Davis, he only saw 6 targets in that game from Allen off of 96. He was playing 96% of snaps though in that game, so I do think there is a lot of upside with Gabe Davis to come. A lot of weather in Baltimore too, which is another kind of mitigator, so it wouldn't be giving up on everyone's favorite preseason darling.
Lawrence, we know how obviously successful the Bills' offense is. Does that alone make this a keep it open, or are you closing out?
So me personally, I'm not an anti-Gabe Davis guy, right? I just wasn't as high as everybody else was when he caught that touchdown in the preseason, and all of a sudden he was Jerry Rice. The good thing is he's going to play 100% of the snaps because he is their, at least on paper, their wide receiver too. But I always like Isaiah McKenzie a little more coming into the season just based on what Josh Allen has done with the slot position in recent years with Cole Beasley. Isaiah McKenzie scored 3 of the last 4 games. Now, I like to call Gabe Davis Gabe Busted Coverage Davis, because if the defense busts that, he's going to he gonna get you.
Yep.
Like Jay mentioned, his week 1. I don't know what the Rams was doing on that play.
The Rams are doing full stop.
But Gabe Davis was just like, hey, I'm out here. And he's going to take advantage much like he did versus the Chiefs. So I'm personally, it's because I was never as high on him. I didn't have him as a top 15 receiver. That's tough for me to do because there's so many good receivers. You got teams with 2 wide receivers in the top 15, like the Bengals, the Dolphins. So it's tough to get him in there for me. So I'm good on that. Give me Isaiah McKenzie, though.
Like you said, McKenzie scored in the last 3 or 4 games, and then Jamison Crowder out with a broken ankle, so that's going to significantly help McKenzie's target share. All right, looking to a less prolific offense in Tennessee. Robert Woods. We know Treylon Burks is dealing with the turf toe to the point where he's not playing through the turf toe. He's going to miss some time, it seems like. That puts Robert Woods on the map as the only target, it feels like, in Tennessee. 20 targets, 13 catches, 167 yards, and a touchdown. Jay, does Burks' injury boost Woods for you, or is this pass offense just so anemic that you don't like it that much?
I mean, it has to boost him a little bit. Woods is he's a sigh flex, where you just kind of sigh and put him in your flex spot and kind of not expect a great deal and hope for a touchdown to maybe boost up the 4 receptions for 35 yards that might be coming. So I do think a good sign is that Derrick Henry's been a lot better the past 2 weeks.
He looked really good last week. Yeah.
That offense is entirely built off of Derrick Henry being good and play action off of that for Tannehill, who is elite as a play action passing quarterback. And so that's what you would hope for. This Washington matchup is very favorable. This is about close to the worst pass defense in the league. I don't know what happened to the Commanders' pass defense. The year that Alex Smith took them to the playoffs, that was an elite defense, and it's just fallen apart. No Chase Young, obviously, but it's a bad defense at the moment, so there should be some yards for Robert Woods.
Lawrence, where are you at with Robert Woods?
Yeah, like you say, going against the Commanders here, this will be a perfect time for us to actually see, hey, we know Treylon Burks is going to miss some time. Robert Woods, here you are. You just scored a touchdown. We're going against the Commanders. They fighting for their life over there. You got Derrick Henry, who I was going to mention as well. He's been playing better. In fact, he's running back 8 right now in PPR fantasy right now. So to all the folks who thought he was washed, keep watching. So like you said, Jay, him being better can only mean better things for the passing game, because that's how it's going to go. You notice the first 2 weeks where Derrick Henry wasn't as efficient running the ball, right? They couldn't get the passing game going. So that's the hope for Robert Woods, but I'm with you and just like, hey, you put him in and you hope something happened. You hope for that touchdown, really. That's what you're hoping for, but we'll see.
Lawrence, got one for you. Rest of the season, who do you want, Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor?
Ooh, Jonathan Taylor.
Still? Okay.
Yes.
With the ankle and everything in that offense, I would still take Taylor as well. But Henry, who was completely just dismissed after week 2, he at least is getting back.
Good question, though. That's a good question. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, it's
that
crazy.
Caught me real quick.
The tables have turned. All right, last segment we talked about, we honored Blake Bortles is how I'll put it. So looking at his former Jacksonville team. Travis Etienne, definitely one of those players that everybody, I think, had high expectations for. Maybe not RB2 status, but a reliable flex player. He is in the keep it open or close it out territory. Only 34 rushing attempts, 144 rushing yards. I think this is the one that sticks out to me, Lawrence. 8 catches for 81 yards without a touchdown. We had to have higher hopes for Etienne's pass production, receiving production.
Yeah, definitely, especially going into week 4 when they played the Eagles. They were expected to be down early. Well, that didn't happen. He still equaled the same amount of carries as James Robinson in that particular game, but we were hoping to see some receiving yards, some catches. He had 1 target. Like, what is that? Like, that's not good. And when you look at the upcoming matchups against Houston, the Colts, who they don't have as good a defense as people would like to think, those could be James Robinson type of games right there. So I'm good on Travis Etienne. I love the emergence of James Robinson. He had a down week in week 4 against the Eagles. That was a tough game, but I like James Robinson going forward. Travis Etienne, not so much, but how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would feel a lot differently about Etienne if he just, in week 1 against the Commanders, he drops the walk-in touchdown from Trevor Lawrence and Lawrence misses him as well. If he's just got 2 more touchdowns and those yards, then we're probably feeling a little bit differently about Etienne. But at the same time, like, James Robinson's the guy that you want. But I think that Doug Peterson, with what he showed in Philadelphia, he does run offenses that can support multiple running backs. So I think you're fine. Like, Travis Etienne should absolutely be rostered and he'll be played in the flex spot.
Yeah, for sure.
But James Robinson is the guy that you want.
Jay, do you think some of the emergence of the wide receivers that they've paid a decent amount of money to on this team has also eaten into Etienne's workload? We've seen Christian Kirk, massive targets. Zay Jones before he got hurt, big performances. Jamal Agnew recently as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Catches.
Yeah, I think that I just think this Jags offense is better than anticipated. I know that it wasn't an amazing showing against the Eagles, but you have to throw out a lot of that because of the rain and the conditions, and then the game script really got out of hand. But no, I do think that Etienne is suffering a little bit just from all the surprisingly, the amount of good players on that offense, but I do think he will build as the year progresses coming off that injury.
Another disappointing running back, James Conner, who started the year with some injuries of his own. But, guys, the big thing here is he's only found the end zone 1 time this year for James Conner, a guy that traditionally just lives with the goal line work. So, I mean, he's still a top 30 running back. He's still averaging around 11 points per week. It's not like Conner is unplayable. But are we getting to the territory where you're wondering this Arizona team has been so disappointing? Is he a victim of that as well?
Well, I would be saying yes, Connor, except for the fact that their offense seemed to get back on track in week 4, albeit versus the Carolina Panthers, who got no resistance from the other quarterback at all. They got nothing from covered over there.
Oh, boy.
You know, so there. But what I wanted to see from the Cardinals was, can you score like in the beginning parts of football games?
Yeah.
Like, don't wait till you're down and you have to come back, because that's a result, and that resulted in James Conner not having more than 15 carries in the game this year. If they could stay in some games, if they could be winning some games, that's more carries for Conner. That's more opportunities for him. And yes, the touchdowns were big for him last year, but we had to expect that he wasn't going to get 16 touchdowns. But now that Kyler Murray got this offense playing just a little bit better, that we're going to see this week versus them Eagles. They do got the Seahawks after that. So that'll be a good matchup for him to get back in. But I'm not willing to give up on him just yet.
Yeah. Jay, let me ask you, would you buy low on James Conner right now? Looking at the schedule, we said, sure, Eagles, but then the Seahawks, Saints, Minnesota, not the best, right in the middle of the pack. Or, once again, do you need to see more from the Arizona offense?
I'm probably right at the mid-tier market opinion, on the 50th percentile opinion on James Conner. I just think the big difference is that last year in the second half of the season, Arizona were like fighting for the 1 seed. They were the favorites for the 1 seed at a point in the second half of the season, which just meant they're in position to score a lot more often. There's more touchdowns to go around. And when you're a mediocre team, which is what the Cardinals are right now,
Indeed.
They're 5.5-point dogs at home to Philadelphia. When you're a mediocre team, then running back touchdowns and touchdowns in general are just going to be fluky where they come from. And that's what Conner, like, he's getting the brunt of that at the moment. It'll come back a little bit. And he did have 28 carries the past 2 weeks, which is encouraging. But touchdowns, he's not going to get 16 this year. If he can get 10 or so, that's probably a good result at this point.
Speaking of the weakened team, no better place to transition to than the Commanders because of their defense, right? And Antonio Gibson, who can become a victim of that. Right now, he is a top 20 running back in fantasy. He is averaging over 13 points per game. The problem for Antonio Gibson, it feels like this team is always looking for a running back to eat into his workload, no matter who it is. And now an actual good one is returning from the IR in Brian Robinson. So, Lawrence, I'll speak before you go on this. This is one where I feel like I'm abandoning ship already, despite him being a top 20 running back.
You ain't going to get much argument from me right now. You ain't getting much argument from me right now, dog. Like, the snap percentage decreasing each week. They, like you said, they finding people to put in over him. Jonathan Williams, who was more efficient runner. Jonathan Williams.
Like what?
We not even talking about him in no fantasy drafts, dog. So now you get Brian Robinson coming back, and we love to see him back after his situation. He was already about to be the starting running back on early downs. You know, so in Antonio, we had Ron Rivera like having to take up for Antonio. Like, we still believe in him. You know, we still see it. Man, they was talking about him being CMC last year. Like, what is that? Now we're here. So this is the easiest one I have. This is the easiest one on the list. I'm abandoning the ship quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yep, closing out
Antonio
Gibson, jumping on top of that sinking ship and pushing it further into the water. He is, yes, his production has been okay, but a lot of that was 7 receptions for 72 yards against the Jags in week 1. Hasn't seen that passing game work since. 6 receptions past 3 games and 3.3 yards per carry. And he was a guy, he had to win this job back because Brian Robinson was going to be the starter. He was going to be the first 2-down back, and Antonio Gibson hasn't done enough. I'm not sure it's even his fault, really, because the offense is so bad, but I think Brian Robinson is going to be the guy. There's going to be J.D. McKissick as well. Out on Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, the scariest number for Gibson, if you're even hoping him to have a big receiving impact when Brian Robinson returns. 8 targets in week 1, like you mentioned. 8 targets combined in the last 3 weeks.
And you still got J.D. McKissick in there fishing around. King. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, we all good on that.
Yeah, 10-point steady Eddie, J.D. McKissick over there. All right, Lawrence, no better day to have you on the Fantasy Football Happy Hours. We transition to Kyle Pitts. Yeah. I don't even need to tee you up for this one. Take it away, Lawrence. Is Kyle Pitts a keep it open or close this up? We are in panic territory right now.
Listen, me and Matthew Berry put way too much damn effort into that video for him to sink back down to one catch for 25 yards. And the thing is, we can't say nothing to Arthur Smith because they won the game. You know what's crazy about that game, fellas? Marcus Mariota threw an interception against the Browns with 7 minutes left in the third quarter. They threw one pass after that. They threw one pass after that. They said, no. Like you said, we're going to run the piss out the ball, and they did it. However, now you got the Bucks, then you got the 49ers, then you got the Bengals. All of these are within the top 12 of rush defenses in the league right now. Arthur Smith, you will be forced to throw our boy Kyle Pitts the ball. You're going to have to, and that's where my hope kind of lies right now. Kyle Pitts did have a good game against Tampa Bay last season. It is ugly.
This graphic right now is just a disgrace.
Oh, my God. Look
Robert
at them
Tonyan,
names up there.
Mo Cox is lapping him. Will Dissly. So this is for the tight ends with the most more fantasy points than Kyle Pitts, names of which we've just mentioned. Mo Cox, Hayden Hurst, the immortal Logan Thomas, among some of these players ahead of Kyle Pitts. Look, I think the thing with Pitts is that the Falcons have been leading a lot of games, which is not what anyone anticipated, given their win total was around 5 coming into the season. And so that has helped suppress his targets and just the passing game work in general. But in the next 3 weeks, at Tampa, San Francisco, at Cincinnati, they're going to need to throw the ball in those games.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say playing from behind production was a big part of the Kyle Pitts preseason evaluation. And maybe this is a little bit of a mirage, these first 4 games. The other thing I'm watching, guys, to close this out on Kyle Pitts, when do they give Desmond Ridder a look, right? Because you could say what you want about Desmond Ridder, obviously drafted in the 3rd round. The expectations aren't insane. But Marcus Mariota is not the long-term answer for this franchise. And if Ridder is ready at some point of the season, maybe that helps Pitts. Mariota completed 7 passes this weekend.
Exactly. They need to
bar's low.
They need to give Desmond Ridder a look, a handshake, a hug, and some playing time. We need to do anything to get Kyle Pitts the ball. 7 completions ain't going to get it, man.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder's right now, he's 50-1 on BetMGM to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, he probably needs to come in the next 2 weeks to be able to win that. He needs to come in right now.
Definitely.
But at the same time, if he does, Yeah, because I guess Arthur Smith thinks he's fighting for a playoff spot, which is great. You get fight for the right to lose by
First
4
place
touchdowns
in the division.
Tampa in the wild card game. But yeah, I think that they should bring in Desmond Ridder sooner rather than later.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.